What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, everyone, I am here to bring you all the weekly Tales of Zestiria the X review. So, this is episode 11 in the release order, but if you're going by the chronological order, this is episode 10. So, without further ado, let's get this started. So, in this episode of Tales of Zestiria the X, this episode was pretty much just the build-up to what we can expect in the next episode of Tales of Zestiria, which is titled War. In the past episodes of Tales of Zestiria, we have seen the politics being built up episode by episode by episode, with the corruption going down in Lady Lake, which is the city in which Alicia resides in. She is the princess, however, so she does not pretty much, govern everything. But she does have higher-ups that are pretty much taking care of her, before she actually takes the throne. However, there are actually higher-ups within the city of Lady Lake, that actually want to take out Alicia, which is what we see in this episode. Even in the past few episodes, we've seen the assassin group known as the Scattered Bones want to assassinate Alicia. Now, why would the Scattered Bones want to assassinate Alicia? Well, the Scattered Bones are simply, assassin group that they kill on free will. If they perceive someone as, someone who is bad and, actually making society worse than it already needs to be, they will go ahead and kill that person off in order for the betterment of society. However, they are also an assassin group that ends up taking up jobs in order for them to kill off specific people. So in this case, one of the higher-ups wants Alicia dead, so therefore the Scattered Bones took on this job in order to kill off Alicia. So the thing of the Scattered Bones is simply that they are not a organization that is bound to a specific leader. They don't abide to the rules of a leader or anything like that. They are simply just, their own little group that kills people off of free will. If they perceive someone as evil or is tampering with society, they will end up committing the act in order to kill people off. And because of the fact that the higher up ended up giving the Scattered Bones a bad name of the princess, Alicia, that is why they want her dead. Now, it was revealed in the first episode of Tales of Zestiria the X as to who exactly the leader of the Scattered Bones was. So really, this wasn't too big of a reveal. Hopefully, none of you were like, whoa, I couldn't believe it was her. I mean, she was introduced in the first episode. They kind of revealed her already, which I was very surprised on, because I thought they would have, held up, her, held up who she actually was. But it turns out that she is in fact Rose, which we saw in the first episode of Tales of Zestiria. Now, when it comes to Rose, we know that Rose is also in another group called the Sparrow. So what are the Sparrow Feathers? The Sparrow Feathers is a guild and group of traveling merchants in the Tales of Zestiria world. Although they are a merchandising guild, their true work involves the recruitment of assassins under the name the Scattered Bones, in which they are hired by a client or they kill by free will. So technically, this is a little, group that, goes about traveling into the city of Tales of Zestiria. However, their true work resides in the assassin group under the name of the Scattered Bones. So pretty much this is just a group that they form together in order to, pretty much camouflage themselves from society in order to not be seen as, some sort of threat. They want to keep the name of the Scattered Bones under wraps from the rest of the world, because they are an assassin group after all. They attack in the shadows. They want to be seen in the shadows. Now, the whole reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up regarding the politics, the Sparrowheads, and the Scattered Bones when it comes down to this episode is because that is what Tales of Zestiria has been built upon. It's not just this fantasy world with, you know, all these mythical creatures and cool battle sequences. I mean, this is a world after all. It is run by a government and therefore is going to have politics. And we have seen throughout the beginning of Tales of Zestiria, the politics within the world, especially residing in the city of Lady Lake, is growing corrupted day by the day, and therefore want to attack the princess Alicia and get her off the plate. Now, when it comes to, you know, what this episode, you know, felt to me personally as to, you know, what exactly it focused on the most, while we did see a cool sequences between the the characters of Saray, Mikleo, Lila, and Edna, while it was cool seeing their side of the episode, I don't really think it was really that big of a deal compared to what we saw at the ending of Tales of Zestiria with Alicia's and Rose's confrontation. Because this is where we see, you know, the aid that is going to be provided during the war. Because, you know, this is an assassin group that wanted to specifically take out Alicia in the first place, but Alicia, you know, ends up negotiating with Rose, the leader of the Scattered Bones, that she wants to be someone that is betterment for, you know, not only the city, but also for Highland, you know, the world of Tales of Zestiria. She actually wants, you know, to provide its citizens with, you know, great fortune. You know, she doesn't want to be one of those, you know, corrupted individuals like who is trying to end up killing her. And the funny thing is that Alicia technically, you know, was sensing that she was being targeted within the city of Lady Lake. So she knows that something was up entirely, and so this is when she starts negotiating with Rose, of course, and we have it to where they eventually make a pact with one another, into which the Scattered Bones, or in this case the Sparrow Feathers, are going to aid Alicia in battle between the other part of Highland called Rollins, which is basically what Rollins is. Let me give you a little breakdown on what Rollins is. Rollins is an empire and location in Tales of Zestiria, which resides on the opposite side to Highland. The leading security and minor governors of Rollins are the Imperial Knights, which consist of knights from Rollins, with their leader enforcer being, I am not going to say his name because that is probably spoilers, but yes, this is what Alicia's group is going to attack in the next episode of Tales of Zestiria, titled War. We're going to see the kingdom of Lady Lake and also Rollins end up going up between one another. But basically what we have to get down from this episode is that the Scattered Bones, otherwise known as the Sparrow Feathers, are going to be aiding Alicia's kingdom in the fight between Rollins, because the Sparrow Feathers are a merchant group, so therefore they are going to, you know, help Alicia out by giving them the supplies they actually need. And we, you know, saw in the beginning, before this confrontation play out, that Alicia said, we need more supplies, we need more, you know, soldiers, and we just need a better advantage overall. And what better way to actually get this from an organization that was, you know, targeting Alicia in the first place. So now that Alicia negotiated between Rose, the leader of the Scattered Bones, she now has somewhat of an upper hand, but we're gonna have to wait until we see in the next episode of Tales of Zestiria if she does in fact have the upper hand or not. Because while they do have the Shepherd, of course, the Shepherd is going to be helping them out, you know, at the same time, it's really not going to look good on either side. There is bound to be countless deaths. I mean, this is war, you know, so when it comes down to this episode, I personally thought it was a very slow-paced episode, but it was a good episode, and I'm glad that, you know, there's a good change of pace regarding the build-up, you know, what we're going to see in the next episode of Tales of Zestiria, which is titled War, because I have played the game of Tales of Zestiria, and the war sequence that ends up going about in the game, it is like really hyped. Like it was a very long drawn out battle, and I don't know how long they are planning to make this in the anime. At most I could probably see them maybe covering, you know, maybe 2.5 episodes worth of, you know, the war, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. But definitely this was a build-up episode for the next episode of Tales of Zestiria, but it was a good episode at that. I love the politics that was being involved in this episode, and there was also some good moments with, you know, Saray's group as well. And especially that one sequence with the cemetery scene where you see Saray walking along with everybody else behind him in the graveyard of the cemetery, and you know, it was just so amazing. You know, the foldable, you know, I mean, when it comes to the animation, man, it was just, it looks so, it looks so morbid, but at the same time very tranquil how that scene ended up playing out with the graveyard. Like, I really wanted to take a screenshot of that and say, yeah, this is going to be my thumbnail, but I decided, hey, this is in actuality an episode that's more focused on the negotiation and confrontation of Rose and Alicia's character. At least that's what I got out of the episode. So I don't know about you guys, but let me know what you all thought about in the comments down below of what you thought about this episode of Tales of Zestiria the X. Be sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace, guys. Thank you all for watching.